Hi, my name's Belinda Wilson. This is the critical rationale of my learning design activity, where I will explain my design choices and the theory underpinning the activity. My learners are adult learners who are completing a graphic design diploma which is fully online. It is a small cohort of 20 students, which have been broken into groups of 4 for some parts of the activity. This is to enhance social contact and bonding between these students. This is in line with social constructivism, which reflects the ideas that knowledge is constructed when individuals interact socially and talk about shared tasks. So I am bringing this aspect into the online environment. I use the backward design approach, which involves identifying the key learnings of the activity. In this case, it is for students to be able to complete an authentic learning activity such as a client design brief, and they will also have to articulate themselves through the activity to be able to discuss designs by critiquing their peers' designs and reflecting on their own designs. I was then ready to start designing the activity for the learners. The activity takes approximately 2 hours but is asynchronous, so can be completed within a week. This is to create flexibility for online learners. As Diana Laurillard discusses in Rethinking University Teaching, it is of great importance for students to choose their methods of studying. I have named the activity Real-World Design because authentic learning is very important to me, especially since I studied graphic design myself and understand how important it is to this qualification to engage in authentic activities and assessment so that these skills can be transferred into the real world in a graphic design career. To meet accessibility guidelines, the course is designed in Canvas, following the Quality Matters checklist for design. A prerequisite for this course is that students are required to have good vision to complete it, but it does allow for the hearing impaired to complete this online course. Today I will follow this learning design framework, which was inspired by the 5 E's model by Bivey. I also found Gilly Semon's E-tivities model very useful while planning out this activity. I'm going to use these points to take you through my learning design activity to explain my design choices and reflect on my own experience of learning while undertaking this course. Step 1. Introduce. Learners will view a short inspirational video which discusses completing a graphic design brief in a real-world graphic design studio and the key elements of a good graphic design. I started with this introduction to the activity to support engagement, motivation and learning by providing this information in a short video. To provide accessibility for the hearing impaired, the video has subtitles. I want to inspire students for the design task they will complete ahead. It also demonstrates authentic learning as the video is taken from the experiences of a real-world graphic design studio. Step 2. Engage. This involves interaction and collaboration. After watching the video, learners post on Padlet. This is shared by the 20 students in the unit. They discuss some key points they think are important when creating designs for a client brief. Students are encouraged to comment on each other's posts. I decided to use Padlet for this short and casual activity as Padlet is familiar, easy to use, quick and informal collaboration and discussion tool. According to Terry Anderson in Theories for Learning with Emerging Technologies, active engagement is critically important in learning and multiple perspectives and dialogue leads to effective learning. Learning happens most effectively when the task is authentic and holds meaning for the learners. This is why I chose to use Padlet for this part of the activity, to give students the opportunity to discuss the video and their own experience of what is good design. There should be plenty of activity to read other students' viewpoints on the Padlet, and students are also encouraged to comment on each other's posts to keep the conversation going. This part of the activity also used retrieval-based learning. Each act of retrieval of information from the video improves the student's ability to retrieve the knowledge in the future. Spending this 10 minutes actively attempting to retrieve and reconstruct their knowledge from the video is a simple yet powerful way to enhance long-term meaningful learning, according to Karpik in retrieval-based learning. Step 3. Act. This is where students apply their graphic design skills. Learners choose from a selection of 6 different client briefs and complete the design for the brief using Adobe Creative Suite. This design goes towards the final assessment in the unit. Offering choices of assessment and topics of study allows learners to be more active participants in the process. As Elias notes, it also allows students to meet course requirements in a way that is best suited to their individual abilities, needs, and interests. Completing this hands-on graphic design component to the activity using graphic design software is important to incorporate into the learning because it will make up the main component of their careers as graphic designers and because students learn best by doing. Rather than reading a textbook about design software, according to Dewey, active learning entails that students actually learn best by doing, by physically using the design programs. As Gonzalez de Haas and Williams discussed in Theories in Educational Psychology, authentic assessment mirrors real-life context. By completing a graphic design brief in this way, increases student motivation and engagement. The students can see the value and meaningfulness in this activity and the transfer to the real world. Step 4, critique. This phase involves collaboration and feedback. Learners post their finished designs on the group Padlet in a group of 4 participants. The OLA and each participant gives feedback on one of their peers' designs using their knowledge of what makes the design successful and what could be improved. This 400-word critique goes towards the final assessment. I've included a lot of opportunities for learners to discuss designs in this activity because it is important for graphic designers to be able to articulate their work. As I quote from Diana Laurillard in Rethinking University Teaching, it is vital to the students' capabilities for handling situations in the future, which is what we are trying to prepare them for. Gilly Salmon suggests students carry out a peer review of each other's work, which is also subject to assessment by the teacher, which is exactly what I have incorporated into the activity here. I have made this step of the assessment to ensure students carry out this important step of the activity to support collaborative learning. In my experience, I found this worked very well when completing our current unit and noticed my peers were more likely to comment and fulfill requirements of the unit, such as in assignment 1, where all posts and feedback posts went towards the final assessment. This is why I decided to make the critique go towards the assessment in this activity. Step 5, reflect. On a group discussion board, learners post a 400-word reflection on the group discussion board. They're in the same group of 4 and discuss how their own designs meet the client brief and if they would do anything differently next time. This reflection goes towards the final assessment. I have chosen to use the discussion board for a more formal and structured approach to synthesize student learning. It is also a final opportunity to support a collaborative construction of knowledge by reading each other's personal reflections. Here, students have the opportunity to reflect on their own design as defined by meaningful learning by Tully and Urambi. It is the ability of the learner to retain information and apply what they learned in different contexts. When learners engage in meaningful learning, there is a retention to what they have learned. They develop long-term memory and retrieve the information later. In my personal experience, I found using the group discussion board in our small teams a great way to get to know my peers and learn from them more personally as we were broken down into these smaller groups. That's why I've decided to do a similar format for this activity. 2 learning theories that are most important to me that I have reflected on in my own learning journey as an adult learner have been social constructivism and authentic learning. Both of these helps my retention in learning something new and to be able to take these concepts to the real world through authentic activities and assessments. In summary of my design activity, the students have been on a collaborative learning journey which positions them as active learners. The tasks have been creative in terms of collaborating within a graphic design unit, with key emphasis placed on authentic learning. Students started their learning in a casual learning environment with a video and Padlet, and then they worked with their peers, have stepped outside of their comfort zone to learn something new by getting feedback on their designs from their OLA and peers, and also reflecting on their own work. The learning is online and asynchronous, so largely self-directed, students are motivated to complete the steps of the activity as they are mostly all accessible. Students will gain the sense of achievement and accomplishment from successfully collaborating with their peers. Thank you. I hope you have enjoyed hearing about my learning design activity.